Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Do you feel stuck, silent, and stressed? Is something hurting your heart and soul? Are you burning yourself out? If so, you are in the right place because this is the podcast. People from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with inner peace and joy. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back to the Survivor to Thriver show. I'm really happy to have you with me today because, we have some really great things to talk about. Now, of course, I really do believe that everything we talk about on this podcast is important and relevant, right? Because I want to always be sharing with you the very best of what I know and the knowledge and the information and the wisdom that I have access to. However, I'm feeling really extra enthusiastic about today's episode because I'm still on how should I say? I received a huge energy boost and a huge happiness boost when I was at yet another training over the last few days, and I'm still riding high on that energy boost and that happiness boost that I received. So, all right, I hope you're ready. Okay, so the training I was at these last few days is a training on NLP mastery. Now, if you're not familiar with NLP, it stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. That's Neuro-Linguistic Programming. What is Neuro-Linguistic Programming? Well, I think the best way to understand what it is to just think about it as a tool that we can use to improve our understanding of how we communicate, the different communication styles and communicate patterns of communication that exist among us. Because when we can better understand these different patterns and styles of communication that are existing, we can become more effective in how we communicate, and we can actually better understand each other, right? Because there's so many conflicts that we end up in for no other reason than because of miscommunications that are happening, because we can have sometimes very different communication styles, because of which we are not able to understand each other. We're not able to have enough empathy for each other, right? And we think, we're disagreeing because you don't like me, or you don't agree with me, or you don't care about me. But actually, it's just a very different style of communication that we are using. And because we don't understand those differences in style, we are not able to connect and understand each other as well as would be ideal for us to do. So this is actually a very important thing. And of course, there are many different ways out there, like different modalities, different tools that people use to sort of help them better understand these kinds of different personality styles and communication styles. NLP is one of those tools. Now, the benefit of NLP and looking into this particular tool is that it is all very much grounded in the best scientific research. And the other great advantage of NLP is that the practitioners and the teachers of NLP have actually created a lot of really cool exercises and strategies and specific techniques that we can use to implement the knowledge, right? To implement the research findings, to like figure out how, okay, so we have found this out about how people communicate and so forth through research, but how do we apply this knowledge? How do we apply these ideas in our everyday interactions, right? Because if you have knowledge, but you're not able to apply it, then, it's going to benefit you very little. The real power in knowledge, or of having knowledge, is in the ability to apply it, right? So that's one of the really cool things about NLP, is that even as on one side, there's like all these dedicated scientists and researchers who are studying these issues of how humans communicate with each other and so forth. On the other side, there are a lot of people who are focusing on helping us apply all of that learning. So I want to actually share with you one of those key learnings that is very, very much connected to things that I've been talking with you about anyway. So this just takes it one level deeper than even how we were talking about it, right? And then we'll connect it and bring it back to, okay, how can we use this knowledge? How can we use this understanding to actually help us in our everyday lives? All right, so what am I talking about? What is this basic idea that I want to share with you? Okay, so that I keep telling you about how there's like this causal chain, right? Causal chain of manifestation. Manifestation of what? Manifestation of our behaviors and the results that we see in our lives, right? So, look, for example, let's say you behave in a way where you're eating lots of food that is highly processed and high in sugar, salt, and fat, and things like that. And then what is the result that you see in your life? A result that you may see in your life is that you become overweight, maybe even obese, and you develop various diseases that are related to bad nutrition, overnutrition, like diabetes, high blood pressure, heart attacks, all kinds of, manifestations, can result because of the behavior that you're engaging in, of eating food that is not good for you. Now, of course, you know that this is an issue very close to my heart, because eating healthy is something that I've struggled with personally, and to some extent, it's an ongoing struggle. So anything that can help me and help you more effectively, more permanently create positive change in our behavior, that's amazing, isn't it? So NLP is now another tool that I have in my tool belt to help me accomplish this goal, right? Okay, so behaviors, the way we behave, has a direct causal impact on the results that we see in our lives. And I just gave you an example of how the way you eat, which is a behavior, can result in results like ill health, right? Okay. But the thing is, what makes us behave the way we behave? So this is also something I've talked to you about. The way we behave is most directly influenced by and actually caused by the way we feel. The way we feel has a direct causal impact on the way we behave. But why do we feel the way we feel? Our feelings are most directly causally impacted by two things. Number one, the way we behave. So actually the way we behave can make us feel the way we feel or contribute to why we're feeling the way we're feeling. But the other thing that makes us feel the way we feel is the way we think. The thoughts that we think have a direct causal impact on the way that we feel. So now, do you remember what causes us to think the way we think? That's right. Our beliefs. So what we believe causes us to think the way we think. So, in short, what we believe leads to what we think. What we think leads to how we feel. How we feel leads to how we behave. How we behave leads to the results that we see in our life. Right? So that is the causal chain. And by the way, the causal chain also works backwards. So the results that you see in your life can motivate the way you behave. The way you behave can shift and influence the way you feel. The way you feel can then impact the way you think, and the way you think can then impact the way you believe or impact what you believe. So while it is true that the causal chain works both ways, it is also true that it is in some ways much, much harder to change by focusing on your behaviors and then wanting, expecting, hoping that your behaviors will change the way you feel and change the way you think and change what you believe. I mean, that is a valid pathway to follow, and certainly a lot of the training programs out there, a lot of coaching programs out there, basically all these self-help tools and techniques that are out there are sort of using the strategies like change the way you behave and change the results in your life, change the way you feel, change the way you think, right? And all that. However, if you've tried the strategy before in your life, then, you'll probably have experienced that it can be quite a struggle, right? Why? Why can it be such a struggle? Because, see, most of these training programs and strategies and approaches, the big problem with that is that even though they're having you change your behavior, or focusing on changing your behavior, they don't really go deep enough. They don't do anything to address your actual thoughts and beliefs. They don't do anything, they don't take any direct action to help shift your thoughts and beliefs. They're just sort of depending on this sort of like indirect influence that when you behave differently, then you will feel differently, then that will make you think differently, and that will make you believe differently, right? So it's like, okay, all right, well, I mean, again, it's not that that doesn't work, but the problem is that if that is all that you're doing, then it's sort of like you're not really setting yourself up to win, or at least you're setting yourself up for a struggle, for a fight. Why? Because remember, the chain works both ways, right? So on the one hand, you're trying to change your behavior and all that good stuff, work backwards down the chain. But on the other hand, you still have your old beliefs, right, which are still impacting the way you think, which are still impacting the way you feel, and therefore motivating you to continue to behave in the old ways, right? So it's sort of like from the one hand, you're trying to change your behavior, but from the other side of the causal chain, change your old beliefs are continuing to influence you to behave as you have always behaved. Okay, so it's like you're in a struggle. Not a good place to be. It's really, really hard place to be, actually. And that's why the vast majority of these kinds of strategies and trainings and all don't work. Okay, so if you want to make your life easier and be able to change in ways where you can create positive change without going mad, without going crazy, without losing your mind, then it's not enough to just focus on changing your behavior. You also need to figure out how you can start to work on your beliefs and your thoughts, and start to change your beliefs and your thoughts along with your behaviors. See, because people make the other mistake also. They also make the mistake of, they'll figure out a negative belief that they have, and then they'll be like, okay, this negative belief's holding me back. I need to change it. I must change it. It makes sense to change it. So let's try to change the belief. And so then they focus on trying to change their belief, and then the hope and expectation is that it'll help influence and change the way you think, change the way you feel, and then change the way you behave, right? And get you different results in your life. But again, it's like if all you do is try to work on your beliefs, but on the other hand, you have these habits that you've built over time in terms of how you behave, right? And so it's like, again, you're in a fight with yourself. It's like you're moving up one way through the causal chain, but then you're moving the opposite way from the other end of the causal chain, and so you end up feeling really confused in terms of your motivations and so forth. So again, you need to take a holistic approach if you want to make your life easier and make yourself able to change in without driving yourself crazy, and do it effectively and for the long term. You have to attack the chain from both directions and make sure that the strategies from both directions are in alignment with each other, so that the beliefs that you have are supporting the new behaviors that you want to engage in. The new beliefs that you are, if you're focusing on creating new beliefs, make sure you're also focusing on creating new behaviors or behaving in ways that support those new beliefs, right? So it's like work on both ends of the chain, and then that gives you your biggest chance of success. So that's the general principle. Oh, let me give you a quick example of when people become really focused on trying to change their beliefs and find it to be a huge struggle, right? It's with affirmations, classic, right? So you've probably heard a lot of gurus and stuff talk about how, it's like if you have positive things like that you write out or whatever, and then you review those positive ideas, those positive thoughts as frequently as possible. So positive affirmation could be something like, I love my life, or I'm worthy of love, or I'm very lovable, or I'm beautiful, or whatever it is that you need to affirm for yourself. And then it's like, okay, so recite this 10 times a day, 100 times a day. Remind yourself of this idea, by sticking up sticky notes near your bathroom mirror, and do this and do that. It's like, okay, all right, okay, so affirmations, right? Because they're about the more you repeat an affirmation, the more you remind yourself of an affirmation. It's like this idea, it's like belief that you're trying to create and lodge into your brain, right? And again, there's some very good reason for why the people who support this, the use of affirmations, why they do so, right? Because there is this causal chain that exists, right? And so what you believe does have an impact on how you think and feel and act and so forth, right? So it is important to address your beliefs. But again, if that is all you're doing, and that is a big mistake most people make, is that is all they will do. They will not couple that with other complementary strategies that can help them also address changing the way that they behave and the way that they feel, and so on and so forth. So that is where a lot of people end up struggling. So what I want you to do is to think about some challenge that you've been dealing with, some kind of change that you've been wanting to create in your life and been finding it difficult to create that change. So it could be, okay, I want to change a habit, like I want to eat differently, create different eating habits, or I want to create a change in the context of the way that I work. I don't want to procrastinate anymore. I want to do things well in advance, on time, and that's a behavior I want to change. Or, it could be anything, any area in your life where you've been wanting to create change and finding yourself struggling to create change. So identify that one area, and then just kind of look and see where your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors may be out of alignment with the results that you want to see in your life. It may be that all of these things are out of alignment, that the way you think, that the way you're feeling, that the way you are behaving, and what you believe, all of these things are out of alignment with what you say you want. Well, then you have a lot of work to do. But it may also be the case that you have some of the things that you're doing right. So for example, you may be making an attempt to think the right way, but you're still struggling with the behavior part, or you may be attempting to behave or making an effort to behave in the right ways, but still struggling because you're not thinking and believing what you need to think and believe in order to manifest the results that you want to see. So kind of like see where you're at for yourself with regards to that problem. What may be out of alignment. And then, of course, once you have identified where the discrepancy lies, where the mismatch is, then we can figure out effective strategies to bring those things in alignment, right? And actually, different NLP tools and exercises come in really handy in helping you bring into alignment your thoughts and beliefs and your feelings and your behaviors and so forth. So that was part of what I was learning at the conference these few days. So think about this, and if it's something you find yourself struggling with, please do not continue to struggle with it on your own. Reach out for help and support, and you know I'm one person you can reach out to. Just go to my website at www.academyofthriving.com. Click on the Contact Us page and you'll see how we can connect. So until next time, I wish you lots of peace and joy.